Hey again. So this week we read The Yellow Boat by David Starr, which is a play. Um, I really enjoyed my overall experience with it. I think a lot of the times plays are very straightforward, where they tell you the exact actions that are going on, but this one was a little more fun and was very creative, telling it from the perspective of the child going through everything rather than taking maybe more of a classic route of, the first-hand experience that the father to the child had. So in a sense, it was able to give it a lot of life and meaning, and I read about it afterwards as well. I watched it. I watched the play version of it, and I read an analysis of it as well after I collected my thoughts, of course. But I just overall really enjoyed the how it was depicting the celebration of this child's life, although it was cut so short, unfortunately. So yeah, as I started to mention, I really enjoyed how creative it was. It wasn't a typical describing describing actions. It incorporated a lot of colors and imagination, and it was almost like reading a book as well. Like you plot it out in your own head, and so that's how I came up with a lot of the artifacts that I chose. um it was it was a it was an interesting play because although it was very creative and fun and interesting to read, it was also very hard hitting, and especially if you have context of what the time period was like during the AIDS epidemic. um it's it's very heavy stuff. um Moving forward, how does this relate to humanities? Yeah. Yes, how does this play relate to humanities? So, it is the depiction of, like I mentioned, it was just such a creative perspective use. It was a depiction of this child's life through his own perspective, which of course he himself would not have been able to plot this all out, if that makes sense. But it was turned into something so beautiful, so very unique. It was so unique, and I think it relates to humanities because it's not only telling of the era in which so many people suffered so much pain, so much loss, so much grief, due to AIDS, but it tells another story, another perspective. I was actually discussing the play with my sister a bit ago, and she didn't even know that you could be born with AIDS. So I think it's pieces of media like these that really help us understand our human collective and the different walks of life that not only took place but take place or can take place. Fortunately now there is like proper medications for that and treatments for that, but it was a very different time then, where if you were diagnosed with AIDS, it was practically a death sentence. So I think this relates to humanities because it depicts what life was like, and it depicts it artistically, and it just provides so much context that, like my sister, otherwise she would not have known about certain elements of the human experience, which is crazy. So, y'all have a nice night now. Also, the video ends here, okay, but Dallas Buyers Club question mark. I haven't seen it in over a year now, but very good movie that depicts the AIDS epidemic. Okay, good night all.